all you wanderlusters and hometown heroes. This is Remain, Roam, Return, a podcast that pits your hometown lifestyle against the allure of far-off frontiers. In the show, we are going to try to settle the age-old debate on whether it is better to be the local legend or the one that got away.
And we are your hosts. I am Christian.
And I am Damien.
And together, we are going to spend each episode trying to discover which lifestyle truly is best. Is it better to stay close to the roots that raised you, or to fly away into the unknown?
Yep, and during these conversations, we will be discussing personal experiences and asking guests for their input to decide once and for all whether it is better to remain, roam, or return. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Remain, Roam, Return. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. We're going to do that 4 or 5 times just to be annoying.
Hey, hey, hey.
So...
Do I have to do it as well? Hey, hey, hey. Is this a
I think you should.
Okay, hey, hey, hey. I sound like Fred Flintstone. That's really ridiculous.
You're just missing a big rib cap on the side of your screen that's tipping over your computer.
Exactly. Oh, sorry.
The water buffalo hat.
I told you I would use up this. I like 10 seconds in and I'm already just cutting into you talking about Fred Flintstone. This is ridiculous. Sorry, crack on.
It's perfect. I couldn't imagine a more perfect intro for you. By the way, I was sitting here thinking about like, how am I gonna introduce Neil? And then you came in with Flintstones. So
there you go.
I think we're ready to roll.
That's all you need to know. Great interview,
all right.
I really enjoyed this. This is a great podcast. I loved it. It's been great. Yeah. If you want to check us out,
right,
I'm Fred Flintstone cover artist here.
The feet on this guy, let me tell you, calloused as hell. Anyways, welcome back. First of all, I'm a little starstruck, and I just want to introduce him properly real quick. I know he hates this, but today we have on a very, very special guest, Neil Murdoch of Blue Nation. Welcome, buddy.
Thank you, man. That's probably the greatest introduction I've ever had, and probably never going to be topped. Normally, when people introduce me, like, "Oh, here's this guy," and
here's Neil.
Thank you, Neil. Man. That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it means a lot that you're on. Before we get into any like questions or getting to know you, I do have to say for everybody, huge fan on my end. I don't think I've listened to anything else except for Ordinary People in the last 3 months, and I will just keep it at that.
You poor soul.
Yeah.
I beg you, put something else on, right? Your poor family or other half will be like just rocking at night crying, right? Listen to some, I don't know, listen to anything else. Don't listen to us all the time. That's how they get Stockholm Syndrome, son. That's not healthy.
He has got you that like 1/3 of a penny from all the listens he's done. That spot.
I knew that was you. I knew that was you.
That was me.
I have spent that on fresh air. That is what I've spent it on. And that's about as much as I could get, yeah.
Pretty soon you are going to have to buy that, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, so yes, Neil is from Blue Nation, a very, very great rock band that I've been obsessed with, and he is having a little sip of something. What is that?
It's like a fizzy apple ties. Do you have apple ties over there? Ooh. It's like like a fizzy apple juice, I would say, with a mountain of ice in. So yeah, nothing exciting, I'm afraid. I'm a teetotaler, so we don't drink. So I'm every rock and roll cliche you can think of is not me, unfortunately.
And am I correct? Are you a vegan?
I'm glad you said it, mate. Because if you didn't mention it, it was coming up to the time that I needed to mention it. Because when you're near a vegan, because we just like to tell you all. I was getting a bit itchy then that I hadn't mentioned it in the last 30 seconds.
Well, I had to introduce you as that because Christian, on the other hand, is what I like to call the physical fitness version of a vegan, which is he runs marathons. So guys, you're going to get along swimmingly about talking about that.
No, at least I don't do CrossFit. One of our last guests, we talked ad nauseum about my marathon, which I went unprompted. But like you, Neil, probably with your veganism, if someone opens the door for you, you don't shut up. You're like, I didn't bring it up.
Yeah.
But if someone else does, I'm not going to shut up about it. And so.
Oh, man. Yeah, totally. I'll tell you what's really weird, right? People will ask me about it. and then have a go at me for talking about it. And I'm like, you asked me? I was just like, but nah, man, marathon. So what diet do you follow then, Christian? Are you a meat eater then? And do you marathons, or are you vegan, veggie?
For the most part,
very salt heavy.
Very salt, yes. Which again, we've talked too much about on this podcast. I sweat. I'm a salty sweater, so I need salt. But yeah, mostly, yeah, I eat for protein. Still a meat eater, just because for the most part, it's still the most inexpensive way to get protein.
Yeah. There's a really cool documentary. I think it's on Netflix, and I can't remember what it's called, which is rubbish. But I'll send it you boys. Have a look at it. It's all about like endurance athletes and like superstar athletes moving their diet from kind of carnivore to meat, and then they do all these scientific experiments. They do it in the NFL, and it's really interesting. It's not trying to convert you because that's in the next bit of the show. It's I'll get you that way. But yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, man, fair play. I wouldn't run a marathon if you paid me. You know,
same.
Yeah, you couldn't.
It's cheaper than therapy, so.
Hey, mate, that's why I got into music, right? It is way cheaper than therapy. Just write a song about it and then put it on Spotify and get Damien to listen to it 4 billion times to give you a penny.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, and that's why I do podcasting.
Yeah, it's good for your brain, man.
It's cheaper than therapy too.
Do you have? What is your thoughts on vegan sausage rolls?
Well, we have a place called Greg's over here. They are unfortunately ridiculously tasty, and they are brilliant on tour. But my God, they are disastrous for your waistline, man. It's like, oh my God, it's just nobody wants to see me chuffing down a sausage roll, right? It's there and it's gone. So it's a staple. That and pot noodles. Mm-hmm. We have them on the tour, on tour and stuff. But yeah, it's they're good, man. They're good. All the alternatives are right. You know, it's like one of the main arguments someone gives me is, "Oh, why do they have to call it not chicken?" I was like, because it's marketing, right? Don't worry about it, right? It's probably grown in a lab, and it's probably the back end of something else that we don't know of yet, or I don't know, right? So don't worry about it. You know, I'm one of them. I'm not one of those militant vegans. If you want to eat meat, if you want to eat whatever you want to eat, then cool. Just don't hurt anyone. Right, you know, my choice. I don't want to, but I never understood with anything really, why anybody kind of pushes their views and opinions of a certain thing on someone. I've seen it myself. I remember when I was veggie, and a vegan said to me, "You're the worst kind of vegetarian." I was like, "How does that even compute? How am I the worst kind?" Because I still eat, you know, some things. It was like it just. Yeah, so don't worry. Luke's vegan as well, and Nick's a meat eater, and our manager's a meat eater. So we give them a hell of a time on the riders and stuff. We booed our manager once when someone brought out his spaghetti bolognese because it was meat, and we booed it to the table, and he was paying for it as well. So it was just like, oh my God, it was like, but yeah, we have fun with it. It's one of them.
I love it. So that outlook that you just had of, you know, this is what I do. I don't care what you do, as long as you don't hurt anybody. You know, where does that mindset come from? Was that instilled in you as a kid, do you think?
Yeah, my parents, I have an incredible family, and I had an incredibly lucky upbringing because like my folks are still together. Anything I wanted to do, I mean, I got very, very high up in professional football up to the age of about 15, and then I just quit it because soccer. And then and then I just quit it, and my parents were like, yeah, no worries. I said, I want to do this music thing, and they're like, yeah, no worries, go for it. And they've always been there. The kind of advice they gave me was just, look, do your best. If you've done your best and you can sit at the end of the day and say you've done your best, then fine. Don't hurt anyone. You know, they gave me a real core moral structure. So it's all them. The person I am is because of them. That's kind of it. And I love them dearly, and they play a massive part in my life. So I speak to my mum every day. I speak to my dad every day. Mm-hmm. I see them like every other day and stuff. Family's huge for me. Huge.
Man, is that what support feels like? That is amazing.
I really, honestly, man, I didn't really, when I was growing up, I thought every family was the same, right? Because I've got my sister is incredibly successful in the business world, and she's so supportive of what we do. My brother-in-law, my other half, and it's just, when I was growing up, I thought every family was the same. And then I kind of had my eyes opened that my friends, like the mum and dad, were split up, or they didn't talk to one of them, or they fell out with their dad years ago and don't talk to him, or one of them's estranged and stuff. And I remember my mum saying to me, she goes, so there's a word in Birmingham called bab, right? And it's a term of phrase, and my mum is a Brummie. It's a term of phrase, a term of endearment is like bab. She goes, look, bab, we're the weird ones. And I was like, oh, okay. I get it now. But yeah, I'm incredibly lucky. And I know I'm in a very small percentage to have that support. So it's beautiful. So yeah, sorry, Damien, if you've not got that, man. I'll be your support network. You just call me. Just message me, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Dad,
is that you?
Dad, is that you? Your mom doesn't absolutely adore you, Damien. And
oh yeah.
He's just
my mom is
me now.
My mom is my biggest
feel
fan.
bad for my upbringing. That's what it is. Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah.
How dare you?
How dare you have amazing parents?
I grew up with two parents who are still together as well, and just I saw them a few days ago. Went to their house, and so we can just rag on Damien for not being his dad.
I mean, there's a whole backstory to me. If you want to get into that and make fun of me, that sounds great.
I won't make fun of you, mate. No, I would
do
never
it.
Do that. I'll do it on some things, but making fun of like your dad not being around, it's a bit harsh, man. I mean, we've got a dark sense of humor over here, but we're not there yet. As I say, like second half of the show, I'll go for you. Don't you worry.
Yeah, you'll get there. You'll get there eventually.
We're just warming
it'll
up,
come.
baby.
It'll come naturally once you get to know me more.
Yeah, let me warm up a bit, mate, and then I'll absolutely go for you.
Yeah, that's perfect.
We'll definitely have to get into it. So I am a football fan, and Damien is not. So we'll eventually. So I lived in England for like 6 months, and so
okay, cool.
So I know like about Greg's, and so it's always funny anytime we have UK people on. Damien just has to like sit there and twiddle his thumbs as I just go off on tangents.
I've been there multiple times. I know about this. I don't know as much as Christian does, but I've been there multiple times.
We're a weird bunch over here, man. We're a weird bunch.
It's fun.
Yeah, we go at you guys for choosing the wrong words like yogurt and sidewalk and trunk. I mean, they're all incorrect completely. I mean, we created the language, and then you just kind of absolutely took it apart. But I love some of my greatest memories of like New York and North Carolina, South Carolina. I've been over there a lot, man, and it's an incredible place. But it's a weird time for you boys and girls at the moment, isn't it? It's a weird time.
A lot of uncertainty for sure.
A lot of uncertainty, a lot of like what's going to happen next, a lot of just buckle up and see what happens. I don't think
what it is, isn't it? It's just, do you know the one thing I'm looking forward to the most in the next 4 years, right? The amount of memes we're going to get is going to be through the roof, isn't it? Because I mean, it's just to try and slightly make light of it, because it's one of the things we try and do in the band and ourselves as well, is that if you get too bogged down in just the really serious stuff, you'd never go out the house, right? You'd just be like, whoa, it's a bit like, the sky is falling. But just, I think you're right. Just strap in and just see where you go. And just, if you're good to one another, you can't all sort yourself out, man. But where did you live in the UK, Christian?
So I lived in the very posh city that I later learned is Bath.
Oh wow! Yeah, you saw the good side of us then. Yeah, you saw the historic side.
Yeah. Well, the very because I studied at the university there for a semester and kind of hung around. It was right before. It was back in 2012, so it was also right before the London Olympics, and so
we nailed that.
It was a weird time to be in the UK because there was like all this like pride in the UK for a little bit, and then so it was just really interesting to be here during that time period.
And what's the football team you support?
I'm a Tottenham fan.
You
sadly.
poor soul! You poor soul. I mean, you've got a great stadium that charges you a fortune for a beer, but my God. Oh, my God. Well, I'm a Villa fan. I'm an Aston Villa fan.
Okay.
So you absolutely handed us our behinds the other week. So yeah, you slaughtered
it's
us.
a lot of up and downs because I really wasn't that much of a like England football fan until I came, and one of my classmates was like, "Hey, you want to go down to the pub and watch a match?" And I was like, I'm not really into soccer, as I would have said back then. And he's like, "I'll just come." And I was like, well, I could never turn down a trip to the pub. And so he's from North London, and
so it's his fault.
So so I started watching with him, and so, but then I also like the joke. So Bath has like a fifth tier team.
Oh yeah, they're
and
rubbish.
It's
bless them.
Yeah, but they're fan owned, and so like once a year I pay £10, so I'm a partial owner of a English football team.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. I mean, they're shocking, but fair play. So it's your fault they're bad as well. So you're just starting fires all over the English Football League.
It's also what's really funding this podcast.
Yes, it really is.
Which is why we're in the tank.
And so, but I also make the joke because with Wrexham, the Ryan Reynolds, is the owner with and so I like to joke because my surname's Reynolds, and so not the only American Reynolds to own own a football team in the UK.
I love it, man. Yeah. Oh, cool. Oh no, man. Yeah, you saw the good side of us. Yeah, come to Birmingham where we are, and we'll show you the real UK. Yeah.
So I was joking with Damien about this. I've always heard the joke, "Don't buy a car in Birmingham."
I mean, there's a lot of things you could insert whatever object in that. It gets a really bad name, right? I love Birmingham. It is. You've got people here who are salt of the earth. They will bend over backwards for you. But I think what it is, we call stuff out and we just say it how it is. It's very non-filter. And you're either in the camp or not, kind of thing. It was really bad if you go back. It was a little bit run down, but they've done so much regeneration to the city centre, and they are doing really cool stuff, man. And we're really proud to be from Birmingham. And so I don't really have a Birmingham accent because I grew up in South Birmingham. But if you spoke to Luke, you'd need subtitles. He's got a thick Birmingham accent. We did an interview in the Netherlands, and they paid 4 translators to translate what Luke was saying. And it's glorious, man. It's glorious. But yeah,
that is excellent. And so you're from.
Well,
hey, there you go.
Yeah.
So you're from Birmingham. Are you still around the area now?
Yeah. I'm about half an hour south of it. I grew up probably about 20 minutes away, so I'm not that far from my folks and stuff.
Is that kind of why you're still around there? Is because you're so close with your family then?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. My mum would say I'm too far away from her now, and I'm like 9 miles.
Yeah.
Right. She'd freak. She's like, "Oh, you're too far away." I was like, "Mum, I'm literally like half an hour in a car. It's not that far."
Yeah.
Away. And she's like, "No." But
that was
where I did live before. I was 15 minits away. So to her, I've doubled the amount of distance. Obviously, that means I don't love her as much.
Of course, you're drifting away physically and emotionally.
Yeah, exactly. No, she's it's the sole reason. I've had opportunities to live in New York, in Europe, in London, and I've turned every single one of them down. Right. Mainly because of my family, and I love my family. I love being close to them. I think it's important, right? It's a fleeting time we're here on this little blue dot, right? And I don't get homesick because obviously when we go on tour and stuff, but I love having my dad and my mum and my sister and my wife's family close as well. It means a lot to me, man. It really does.
That's fantastic. And it actually kind of spurs one of the questions that we kind of try to get to on the podcast every once in a while when we remember what the questions are, which is, do you feel like, because you're somebody who stayed fairly close to home and fairly close to family, do you feel like the people like me, for instance, do you feel like people like me who say you can't truly know yourself until you get out of your hometown? Do you feel like that's bullshit?
To a certain degree, yeah. I mean, I know. So Nick, our drummer, and Ollie, Nick lived in Spain for a year, and he said it was like the greatest thing he ever did. I think it depends on your upbringing. I think it depends on how you formulate your own thoughts and feelings, and if you're given the ability as a kid to kind of carve your own path, so to speak. I don't think where you live will really push on you to go change you as a person. It will have an effect, of course, but I think if you're starting off, I can only speak for myself, but I had such a, as I said, an incredible upbringing that I didn't need to find myself. I knew who I was already because my folks and my family gave me the space to find myself. It took me years, to be brutally honest with you, to kind of be comfortable in my own skin and what I do in the band and stuff. But I know it has a massive impact on people when they do move away and stuff like that. It's just, I think it's personal choice, isn't it? I mean, if you want to go away and find yourself, I think I'm not a lover of running away from stuff. I like to face stuff kind of head on and talk about it. And even if it's like gritty and difficult, you know, we have a thing in our family where we'll never be angry with each other if you just tell the truth. So I'm a big believer in truth telling and it setting you free and just being like brutally. I have it with my mates as well and the lads in the band. We just were brutally honest with each other, not to the point where we hurt each other's feelings, but just for the good of the other person, the good of you as well. And it saves you so much time. And that really shaped me, I think, because I always had that growing up. You know, I've got a Glaswegian dad and a Brummie mum. I had no choice, right, but to not tell the truth when I was a kid, right? Because I knew I'd get a Glaswegian response or a Birmingham response, right? And it's like, you know, you just don't have time to spin your words because they'll just see through you, you know?
Yeah. So also, I guess, kind of going into like your upbringing, you probably with training to be a professional footballer, did you travel around? Did you get to see a lot of different parts of the UK because of that, or are you mostly stuck in like the Midlands?
No, even in Europe, mate. So I played against Lazio and Parma in Denmark and Italy and Man United, all the youth teams and stuff like that. So I kind of had to grow up very quickly. I was like 12, 13 at the time, staying away from home. The first time I ever went on a plane, I was 12 years old and I was on my own. No one told me about how, you know, takeoff is loud and stuff. And I was petrified. I remember it. But, you know, you kind of, if I love to do something, if I've got a passion in it, I'm kind of all in. And I'm like, I can't move away from this. I can't just be scared of something. If it is scary, you just got to head it, you know, challenge it straight on, and you've got people around you. So I kind of saw the world from a very young age. I was scared to death at the time, but I appreciate it now because I can look back and go, okay, that did shape me. And I had to, you know, I didn't have my mum and dad to hide behind or do stuff for me. I had to kind of do it on myself. And by the way, Lazio under 13s were ridiculously good, right? So you know, and it was, I look back on it and there's some brilliant moments and some difficult ones as well, right? Being away from your family when I love my family so much at 12, 13 years old was tough. I remember sleeping in the dressing rooms. You know, this was before a time where when they put you up in hotels, like there was like 20 lads in the dressing room and then you'd play on the Saturday. And then you'd have to come back and train every week. So I learned I've been playing football since I was like 7, right? So I've been going to training and I was in successful teams and stuff. So I learned very early on that the more work you put in, the more hard work you put in, the more you get out, right? It's never easy. I mean, I played with some incredible players who made it to, you know, Premier League and stuff like that. So it was... Actually, I tell you, I played with 2 Tottenham players, Matthew Etherington and Simon Davis. So they were in the same team as me at Peterborough. So I played for Crewe, Forest, Nottingham Forest, and Peterborough. Yeah. And but you could tell back then, right? I remember this sticks in my mind to this day, and I kind of carry this forward with me. We'd gone to Denmark and we were training. We trained for like 5 hours in blistering heat, and we'd come in and there was about 50 lads who came in, and then it was your time off. There was only one lad that went out and did extra training and extra sprints and did it for another couple of hours, and that was Matthew Everington. That's the difference between making it and not making it, right?
Yeah.
And he even had his problems as well, right, in later life and stuff like that. But he had an incredible career, and that's why I was like, I don't want to do this, because I couldn't put the amount of effort that I wanted to. I think I could have done it. I was good enough to do it. It was just, I fell out of love with it. And literally, I fell out of love with that and then picked up a guitar. It was mad. Yeah.
That's actually hilarious that you just said that, because my next question was going to be, was there a turning point, or was there something that happened that caused that pivot? I know obviously you said you fell out of love with it. Was it kind of like a natural thing of realizing, like you said, it's a lot of work, or did it just happen naturally?
No, I remember. Well, one of the football is a very difficult business, right? And I, at that time, didn't have the mentality to do it. You have to, I was 13, 14, and you have to have a thick skin. And I didn't have it, right? I took the criticism too much. I took the praise too much. I didn't know that if I'd really buckled down, I could do it. So I kind of, and I got bullied at one bit as well in one of the clubs quite badly. And I told my mum and dad about it afterwards. And I'd never experienced that before at school or whatever. So I was a bit scared at times as well. But I remember, and this sticks in my head, we were in the coach on the way to a game, and all the lads were talking about, and I was about 13, 14, all the lads were talking about what they're getting for Christmas. And they were getting new boots, new shin pads. They were getting like this new kit. They were getting, and they were like, Neil, what are you getting? I'm saying, I'm getting a guitar. And the looks on their faces was like, why? You're a footballer. You should be having football stuff. And it wasn't their fault, right? They weren't being mean. They just didn't get it. And I thought, oh man, I'm in the wrong group here. I'm in the wrong circle of people. And it sticks in my mind now. And I literally then came home, and it was the day before I was going to go back, or the day I was supposed to go back. And I just came downstairs and said to my mum and dad, I said, I can't do this. Burst into tears, phoned the coach, told him, and then never looked back. And then got guitars and just found who I was and found where I was going. There was still a lot of searching to do after that as well, right? I still wasn't the person I am now. That's taken a lot of time, but that was the moment I was like, okay, I want to be in a
and it sounds like it almost made you feel like boxed in almost to a point where you're like, if I continue down this road, I may not be able to turn back until I realize it's too late, right? So I think the universe has a weird thing of timing, where it was like you were getting to that precipice.
It's not weird. I'm a big believer in the universe. I'm a big believer in manifestation. I'm a big believer in everything happens at the right time. I'm a big believer in the power of words and the power of ourselves as well. And this is going to sound a bit like a cult, so I don't mean it to. But we're all so quick.
Here comes the veganism talk.
Here comes the veganism. Here comes the way I get you to put the sausages down. But we're so quick, aren't we, to just belittle or gossip or put people down, me included, right? I'm not immune to this stuff, but
I do it to Christian every day.
Yeah, no, but there's a difference, I think, when you do it from a brotherly, sisterly love kind of way. But when you know when it's mean, when it's just like or stuff like that. And I've done it myself, where you catch yourself talking about someone else or a situation. You're like, I have no idea what that person's going through. I have no idea what they're doing, but I'm giving my judgment, and those words kind of are coming out a bit like poison. So a big thing I'm doing at the moment is just checking myself on, look, your words are powerful. You can convince people one way or another, and especially when you've got a mic in front of you, right? So just be mindful of them, like, and mindful of how you're coming across and what you're saying, and rather than being negative and rather than being, the music industry is really tough, we want to earn more money. What if it all comes good? What if everything we've ever dreamed of actually comes towards us? It doesn't matter that there's 10 plays on your Spotify. It doesn't matter if you're playing in front of 10 people. At some point, Queen, Foo Fighters, all these huge bands played in front of one person, and then they're playing it. They've taken the time. So I'm more of a believer in that and the universe. I could literally talk to you about this woo-woo stuff for hours if you wanted to, and how it's all. But yeah,
I love it.
The universe did totally went, you need to get off a different path. You're on the wrong path. Get off this. It's not right for you. Get onto the right one. And then everything made sense. And I was like, okay. You know, so yeah,
well,
I'm a big believer in the universe.
And that's kind of life in general, is just seizing the opportunities as they come to you, because Christian and I wouldn't have this podcast if I wouldn't have seized the opportunity that me and my wife got to move to California.
Yeah.
We did it in a month. We just dropped everything, and within 1 month we had moved halfway across the United States at the drop of a hat, because we just felt the pull. We saw the opportunity, we pulled the trigger, and now like, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be at the job that I am right now. I wouldn't be in the house that I am right now if we hadn't have just seen that opportunity and done it. So I'm on the same page with you about that. It's like, you do have to just make a decision, and the universe gives you a pretty subtle nudge in that direction. So
totally,
that's really cool.
Totally.
It's also crazy when you're unsure. Like I'm a big believer in checking my own gut about things, like that saying. And like, so I wasn't sure. So I moved back essentially to my hometown after traveling a bit. And me and my wife really debated it. We're like, hey, or do we want to keep going with our adventure? And so, we did a gut check, and we're like, well, we want to be back. Like we're both very close to our family. Like my mother-in-law lives like a mile away from us. So very, very close. And we weren't sure. And then now we've been here about like a year and a half. And we're like, this was one of the best decisions we ever made, was to come back because of that connection.
But that's it.
And it feels really good when it gets good.
Yeah, you know it, right? And someone explained it to me once, and this is my geekiness coming out, but he goes, look, we're all just like massive radio transmitters and receivers.
Yeah.
That's what we are, okay? You have a choice to put out good vibrations, good thoughts, positive affirmations, whatever you want to, just good thinking, right? That's your radio station, your own kind of channel. Or you can put out negativity, right? And it never dawned on me, when people say that stupid phrase, oh, 2 things have gone wrong, a third one's going to happen. What do you think the universe is thinking right then, right? The universe doesn't speak a language, doesn't speak Polish, doesn't speak Spanish, doesn't speak English. It picks up on frequencies. So if your frequency is off, you're going to get it. It's going to come towards you. But if you sit there and just realize, and I'm not the greatest at it, right, at all. I'll have days when I'm down or don't get it, or I want to quit and stuff. But you've just got to focus your mind is, what if all your dreams came true? How amazing. And then change the what if to when your dreams come true. And then
absolutely
you're instantly happy, and you're instantly like, oh, I'm going to go for this. And that's what kind of drives you. But yeah, man, and you'll make mistakes. I've made mistakes, but what was the other phrase someone said? See, I told you have to shut me up, right? Just jump in if I'm talking too much.
No, keep going.
No. So this is
the Neil Murdoch podcast now.
Oh God, isn't it? Oh, every interview I do, man, I just take over. It's disgraceful. Someone said it's better to walk out. Is it better to walk out of a room you shouldn't have walked into than to stay in that room? And I'm like,
sure.
It's just mind blown. And I'm like, God, yeah. How many times have we been in, all of us, the wrong room and stayed there because we feel awkward or because someone said we should be there? Nah, man, get out. Go into your room. Go to where you want to be. Just be good to one another. Be civil. Make your excuses and go, right? And we tell that it's a big thing about the band and a big thing about us. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We're serious about the music, but on stage we chat, we talk, we try and open up people to mental health, specifically men's mental health, because it's important, right? And when you've got a mic in front of you, which you boys will know, it's a hell of a responsibility, right? And it's you got to hold that, But you guys are doing a good thing, man, because you're not hiding behind anything. You're talking about it. Like before we came on air, you said nothing's off topic, nothing's there. I cannot tell you, you're the only person I've ever spoke to on a podcast that said that. That makes you different. That makes you doing something which is positive. Like, no, we can talk about this. If you want to go down a certain route, Neil, you can. Right? And that's beautiful, man. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I love how you talked about like men's mental health, because I know that is an issue that actually is finally being seen, especially in the UK. We have our problems with it in the States, but it sounds like it. I don't want to say epidemic because I feel like it's used to, but it's at least getting more acknowledgement now. Which, and as you talked about, like I joke about with my wife, because my like dad's side of the family is British and stuff, but like always joking about the stiff upper lip kind of thing of like men aren't allowed, like especially British men aren't allowed to talk about their feelings. And I think I think that's a great thing that
it's wild.
Talk about that on stage.
Yeah, we every gig. So Luke is trained in dealing with people who have mental health challenges and pressures, and specifically kind of teenagers and those formative years as well. And he's obviously got the latest statistics as well. And in the UK, I'm pretty sure this is in the UK, every 30 minutes, a male aged between the age of 5 and 35 will attempt suicide. Now think about that. If I go back to when I was 6 years old, there's no way on this little earth I knew anything about it. Every half an hour. Now, we're not trying to say that women or other categories of people don't struggle. We know they do. But with men specifically, it is doubling year on year, right? And you're spot on, Christian, with this stiff upper lip and this absolute nonsense that we have to hold it in. Every single show we do, and Luke talks about it afterwards, and then we play Echoes, because Echoes is about a friend of mine I lost to suicide, and it's the grief I've gone through. We were never going to release it. We were never going to do anything. I played it to the boys, and you've got to. And then we said, well, if we're going to do this, we have to talk about this and not shy away from it, right? Every single show we do, we come off stage, we go to the merch, and a male, all ranges of ages, will come and talk to us. And the conversation always starts with, I don't really struggle with this. I just kind of get on with it. I'm like, okay, that's you struggling with it.
Yeah.
Right. That's you, because you've been programmed to, you look at the different generation, kids are seen and not heard, stiff upper lip, if you go back to
be a man about it,
man up, all these ridiculous phrases that I kind of just fed into it. Even to like we had Snickers over here, it's a man's chocolate bar and all that kind of stuff. It's just divisive. It's divisive ways of trying to separate us all. And I had a gentleman, and I won't name him, but he, and it was a show a couple of weeks ago, and I was packing our gear away at the side of the stage, and he came round and he goes, I just want to thank you. And he started welling up, and he immediately apologized to me for tearing up. And he was like, oh, but it's embarrassing though. I was like, whoa, no, it's not. I said, you can cry your eyes out to me. I've snot cried in front of all of the boys and everyone I know. I was like, it's fine. But he was and I had to tell him to cry because he was so rigid with it. And he'd had a brain injury, which had made him really emotional. And it was about one of his colleagues at work. And he then just started thanking us. I said, look, I've done nothing apart from, and you don't need my permission to cry, right? But I've just had to try and pull it out of you. But there's so many. I walked off stage once, and a wife of this husband stopped me and said, my husband struggles. I said, what's going on, mate? He goes, oh, no, I'm all right. And she goes, no, he's struggling with PTSD. He's an ex-soldier. And I was like, mate, you will struggle it with the most because you're trained. You're trained not to bring these emotions in. So I don't get it. But then I spoke to him, and he was great. And we get messages. I had the most beautiful message we received was from there was two instances. The first one, we got a message from a father who messaged our Facebook page and said, look, I just want to thank you. I don't know who the hell you are as a band. I don't know. I've not listened to your music. But my son just came to me. He's 21 years old. He's having these thoughts, these dark thoughts. He's in a dark place. And his exact words to his dad were, if Blue Nation can talk about this on stage, I can talk to you, Dad. Right. And I'm like,
that's what I was going to say too.
I'm like, oh my God.
That's what I was going to say. Cause you said, I haven't done anything because people thank you. And you're like, well, I haven't done anything. Like, no. Talking about it and putting it out there and trailblazing things like that. is what people need. That is what people need.
It's
And if you don't
wild,
do
man.
that, people don't feel comfortable doing it. So you have done a lot. And the reason I threw my hands up and like when you mentioned Echoes is because that song is the reason I fell in love with you guys. It's not the only reason that I love you guys, but that song hit me the second I heard it. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know any meaning behind it. But by the end of the song, I knew exactly what it was. Like it just has that feeling about it.
Yeah, and it's it's just not shying away from it. Luke, Nick, Ollie, we can't write songs that aren't real to us. We just can't. It's not in our nature. It's not in our DNA. I could never write a song about a girl I'd never met. And it's just not who I know. Many people can, and they're amazing songs that do that, right? But with Echoes, I'd lost my friend. They'd taken that decision. They just had enough one day. And I just thought, I can't deal with this. I don't know. I don't have the words for his mum and dad. I don't have the words for his sister. I don't have the words for our other friends. I can't. And I like to problem solve, like most blokes as well. We're solvers, right? And I couldn't solve it, and it was killing me. So I sat down at my desk, and I'm a big believer in songs are given to you from whatever higher power you want to believe. I'm not religious. I have no idea what's out there. I believe in the universe, but that's probably more because it's more scientific in my head. But this song came into my head. I can't tell you where the words came from. I just wrote it in about 10 minutes, and I played it to Luke. And he just went, mate, Jesus Christ. I know. He was like, we've got to record this. We've got to go out there and do this. I was like, I just did it for me initially. But I can't begin to tell you how proud I am of what that song does for people. I don't class it as ours anymore. I don't class it as us. It's kind of just a bit of a gateway for people. I find like we give it to everyone, and people come up to us, and when we're on stage, I can't look at people when we play it because they're all normally crying, bless them, right? Yeah. And we are too, right? And it's we've got to take away. And if there is anyone listening who thinks, oh, that doesn't apply to me, I'm all right, and stuff. Yeah, you may be right, but you're not your feelings. You're so much more than that. And if you're thinking about making that decision, if you're thinking that's the route you need to go, please don't. Please talk to someone and just wait. I can tell you from my own experience that but last year in March, right, and the band is going great. I have an incredible wife. I have an incredible family. On the outside, everyone looking in would go, Neil is the happiest person on earth. Last March, I was at my lowest, and I was at my lowest because I put such high expectations on myself to be perfect, to do everything right with the band, with social media, with songwriting, that it just started crumbling down. And I messaged all the lads in the band. I messaged my sister. I messaged my family and saying, look, I'm going to do a post on social media about where I am. I want you to hear it first. The minute I pressed send on every message, so I didn't talk to anyone, didn't take my own advice, but I sent a message and kind of got it out. Yeah. The weight that came off my shoulders and the outpouring of love and support I got back, which I didn't expect, was insane. Right. So if you are in that space, and you are feeling like, right, there's no other way for me, send a text message. If you think that one of your friends is struggling, send them a message. Doesn't have to be about how you feel. It can be, I've just watched this new movie. I've just watched the new Deadpool movie. What do you think? Do you want to come around? Or if you've not seen your mate for a while, if you've not heard from your mate in a couple of days, message them, right? It is, it's mind-blowing what music and people can do. We're incredible species. We just lose our way with money and greed and power most of the time. So that's a long answer for. And one of the isn't it? So mental health.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect.
Do you know of any organizations in the UK, I guess specifically, or like that we can throw like a link in the bio about for people?
Yeah, definitely. So there's loads. So we support the Mental Health Foundation. And that is a UK one, but you've got Mind, there's so much help out there for you. And I didn't realize how much help there is out there. We all worry about money. We all worry about stuff. There's free counseling if you are in debt, if you've got money troubles, if you can't, if you're lonely, there's a charity that will set up and help you that way as well. The Samaritans, there are specific charities within your country, within your area, that will help you. And these people are incredible, right? They're there to help you. They're completely anonymous. They will budget with you. They'll help you get your finances in order. They'll support you. Everything you need. All you have to do as that person is just make that first step, and it will get better. Because I've been there. Luke's been there. Nick's been there. Ollie's been there. So many people have been there. You're not alone. You're never going to be alone. And if you want to listen to a Brummie band bang on about it, come follow us and join us, because we're mad, right? We'll help you. We'll put you back together. Those that destroy you, man. That's our motto.
I cannot agree with that message more. Give them a follow. They're so much fun. Their music is incredible. And I did want to talk about too what you said about just reach out to people, right? One of the things that I've done for myself is when I'm feeling low, or when I haven't talked to somebody in a while and I'm thinking about them, Christian and I do what's called Recs on this podcast, which is short for recommendations.
Cool.
And I think it's one of the simplest ways to check in on people without actually making it about that. Hey, I watched this thing, or hey, I heard this song, or hey, I read this book, right? And I want to recommend it to you because it made me think of you. And it's just like, you'd be surprised how even that I've gotten messages like that, really, like, that's really cool that you would reach out to me about that. I think media, whether it be music, movies, whatever it is, I think it's the greatest equalizer of what draws people together. And if you can tell somebody, hey, I heard this beautiful song and it made me think of you, I think that's pretty cool.
It's the most perfect thing to do. Look, as especially blokes, and I'm talking about myself here, we love to fix stuff. We love to problem solve. We love to try and fix other people's problems. You can't fix everybody's problems. I struggle with this as well. Every year I kind of look at myself and think I should have been there for that person more or whatever. But you're exactly right, Damien, man. Just, you don't have to send a message and give them advice. They don't want advice most of the time, right? They just want to be heard. They just want to be seen.
Yeah.
That's it. Right. So when you send hey, this new movie, or hey, do you want to go grab a bite to eat? And if they don't want to grab a bite to eat, hey, no worries. Okay, well, I've sent you a £5 Amazon thing. Get yourself an Amazon movie on me. There's a sale on Ghostbusters. Whatever, man. Right. Just just pay it forward a little bit. Right. And you'll find the beauty in things. Some of the greatest things I've ever experienced is stuff that I didn't even know was coming. At one gig, Luke and I were at the merch table, and this little lad and his dad came up, and this lad was about 8, and this lad sticks in my mind constantly. And I said, look, we were supporting this artist, and they said, we came to see you because we see what you do online. We love your music and we love your message and stuff. And we're like, oh, okay. And we always ask people, how you doing? What's going on? They said, oh, we're not doing great. And then this little lad said, oh, I lost my mom 2 weeks ago. So we're standing there, and Luke and I were kind of like, one, it's 2 weeks ago, right? The bravery of this little boy to tell 2 complete strangers that he's just lost his mum. And Luke's incredible in these situations because he knows how to handle it. And Luke just came back with, how are you feeling? Right. And I immediately went on the, oh my God, and the usual thing, normally, I'm so sorry. And Luke was like, how are you feeling? So Luke didn't make him feel, he didn't make him feel like something bad had happened, or something which obviously had, right? Or catastrophic.
Yeah.
He asked him how he was feeling. And this little boy just turned around and went, I'm okay. And his dad just went, right? And then we spoke to him. We just screw off the merch table, and we were just talking to him. But he left us with such an impression that he was so strong, so powerful, and so in touch with his feelings. I was like, my God, if we could just learn off him, we'd be all right, man. Because he got it. He knew it. He knew about death. He knew about it. And he'd accepted it. And it was like 2 weeks. Now, I'm sure he's going to go through a journey on his own. But I was like, why am I worrying about how we play at this next gig or if our next single does well when that little hero is in
how
the
many
world?
followers? Yeah,
exactly. Changing people's mind in an instant. But there's countless times like that when we've done it, and people have spoken to us, and we just feel so privileged to be in this position where our song has resonated with people. And if they talk about it, and we always say to each other, if one person picks up the phone to their mate, either or, if they're struggling or someone thinks they're struggling, our job's done. You can keep all the awards, you can keep all the big gigs, you can keep all the money in the world, you can keep playing Glastonbury and everything. We don't care. As long as we do our job that way, I know I can stick. That's back to what my mum and dad said. If you've done your best, that's all you can ask for. And that to me is not a bad kind of thing to go after. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's a massive part of who we are, but it's difficult as well because you don't want to use the charity or use what you do for mental health as a vehicle to push your own song or stuff like that. So we're very, very mindful, and we talk about it a lot, that the charity, the mental health comes first, right? Because I think a lot of bands and artists fall into a bit of a trap where they promote their latest single and say, we're doing this for this. And I'm like, nah, man, this is a full-time, 100%. You commit to this or you don't. This is not we're trying to get our new single out and get some eyes on it. So I think there's a bit to go with certain bands and certain artists, but it's central for us. You know, and we're not the best at it. We're not great. We're going to mess up. We're going to get stuff wrong. I know we are because we're human, but we accept that. And I think people that follow us do. Well, Damien will tell you we do stuff wrong all the time, don't we, mate?
I don't know, Damien. Damien thinks you're the most perfect band.
Yeah,
and
we're really not. We're really not. It's a lot of jiggery pokery. There's a lot of pressing play and pressing pause. No, it's not.
No.
Can I actually ask a question about the album itself real quick?
Mate,
I know
I told you, just shut me up. Get me, because I'll just keep talking.
Right.
You know I will. Yeah, crack on. What do you need, mate?
So I was going to ask you, because Echoes is such a powerhouse of a song, clearly, I mean, it's had quite the effect on many people from all of your stories that you have. But one of the things that really shocks me about artists and putting together an album is, for instance, the first song on the album is Hand Me Down.
Yeah.
How, what a crazy song to open with. That song is insane. It is such a good song, but then you also have Echoes in there, and you have so many bangers in that. How do you put them in order? How do you how do you know to open with Hand Me Down? How do you just know what to do? How do you do that?
You don't, right? You don't, right? And any band, any artist that tells you they do is lying, right? I'll tell you what we did, right? And I'll tell you the fear that came along with it. Okay, so we all wrote down independently of each other the track listing, and there's 13 tracks, and pretty much we were on the money. Everyone started with Hand Me Down. Everyone finished with Worry. Echoes was kind of in the mix. And the way we did it was we listened to every song and just felt like a flow or a rhythm. And it's a really personal thing because people don't listen to albums. They listen to songs.
Yeah.
Right? So we thought, if you're going to listen to this album, though, front to back, we want you to kind of, one, go on a bit of a journey. One, we want to hit you in the face right from the beginning to get your attention.
Yeah.
But we want to leave you with stuff. And it was a reviewer and someone who interviewed us, and we'd never made this connection. And please don't think we do think we are this band. We're not. So they said, you like The Who, right? And we were like, what do you mean? We're like, we love The Who, right? And they were like, what do you mean? And they were like, well, you go from a song like Hand Me Down, which is just out there, riff-based, you're screaming your head off, Neil, and then there's an acoustic track on there, and then there's Once in My Life, which is like more of a pop, Beatlesy vibes. You just keep, you can change from song to song. And they were like, did you do that deliberately? And I would have loved to have said yes, but we didn't. We just write what moves us, right? And what we listen to and what we feel. And we're not scared. I mean, there's, for God's sake, in Once in My Life, which is pretty much like a pop, rock, Beatles number, there's a metal breakdown, right? That's Luke's influence where he comes in, and we go into halftime, right? If you'd sat me down and gone, you're going to write like this pop ballady kind of thing, but it's going to have a metal breakdown, you just wouldn't do it because you'd be like, you're insane. But we kind of all came together with the track listing, and then there were a couple out, and then we just listened to it and did it, and it just felt right. And then we played it to the producer, we played it obviously to the mastering guy, the management, and they just said, yeah, it works. And it's, you don't know until it's released, right? And the overriding thing people have come back with is, oh my God, I love this album. It works. It's there. It's a collective. I can feel it. I get the flow. So your job's done, but it's luck. It ain't judgment. Don't let any band fool you, man. You don't have a clue. You don't have a clue until it's out there and people are listening to it. You have no idea if it's good or bad, either.
It's crazy that you say that too, because when I listen to it from front to back, even now, to me, I would assume it was a concept album. It was, you put it in this order because you're telling a story, and it goes in, A, B, C, all the way to Z, and it just feels like intentional. It feels like I mean, you throw in Time is a Thief in there, and I'm like that comes out of nowhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, it feels intentional. So that's why I had to ask.
Luke did. We did mention that there was talk of us. This is an exclusive. I've not told anybody else this. We were going to put like kind of spoken words in between the tracks as well. But then we were like, nah, we are not big enough to do that yet. We can't get away with that artistic license just yet. So that was kind of in there, but maybe it was. Maybe subconsciously we did, from what we did. I mean, we all agreed on it, and it was all about flow and stuff like that. And there was, the biggest thing we said was, we didn't want it just because we obviously released the 2 EPs beforehand. We didn't want it to be just shoving together the EPs. We wanted to show that flow, that story in some kind of way. And I'd love to say we're that intelligent and we'd go, and we painstakingly, but it wouldn't be true, man. It's, but it, again, Luke and I and Nick and all, we put it down to the universe just guiding us a little bit subconsciously. It's a big thing.
That's incredible. I feel like I've asked Christian, you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I could go all day.
You mentioned the other members of the band. Are they from Birmingham as well, or are they from outside? And you guys kind of congregated?
No, they're all from Brum. They're all from Brum. Yeah, we're very privileged to have 2 drummers, and we're very, very greedy. So Ollie was in Blue Nation when he was 16, many years ago. And Ollie is the drummer for Robert Plant of Saving Grace. So, the Led Zeppelin Robert Plant. Wow. So, Ollie, we, and they are an incredible band as well, Saving Grace. They've got nothing released yet, but it's Robert Plant, man. And Ollie's wife, Susie, is in the band as well. And I've known Ollie for years and years and years. The night I met my wife, Ollie was there, right? And we needed a drummer, and I phoned Ollie and said, "Oh, look, I need you." He's an incredible drummer. I said, "I need you." And Ollie's the one on Ordinary People. I said, "I need a drummer." And he goes, "Look, I'm going to get really busy because I've just signed on to be Planty's drummer." And I'm like, "Okay." Yeah. I said, just help me out for like a year until I find someone like. And Ollie is the right personality, the right feel, he gets it. He believes in kind of karmic forces, and it's like the perfect drummer. And we did gigs, and then Ollie was like, "I'm going on tour for 3 months to Italy to play in front of like 10,000 people," and we're like, "How dare you?"
Oh my god!
And it's like, but he's the loveliest guy. But and again about this brutal honesty, from the very word go, sit down. He went, "I will help you as far as I can, but there's going to be a time where I'm more busy than you needed." So what we needed was a depth for Ollie, and we had a couple we tried out, and then Nick actually drummed in my wife's band for a bit, and I messaged Nick, and what's happened as a part of osmosis, like Ollie's done 1 gig with us this year, Nick's done the rest. So Nick's now obviously the full-time member, and Ollie's the Dep. Yeah. And it gives me so much joy that Robert Plant's drummer is our Dep, right? And it's
that's so insane. That's crazy.
But but they're beautiful people, right? And I'm incredibly privileged. And Nick is just as much part of Blue Nation. He was there at the recording. There's some guitar parts he put down as well. And he's an incredible person as well. We're kind of, I'm finally at a stage with the band, because I've been doing it so far, that we've got 3 people in this band who just get it and just all driving in the right direction. And if one of us is down, the other picks us up as well. So it's it's a real privilege to have beautiful people in this band finally. And Robert Plant is a lovely person. If you do want a Robert Plant story, I can give you one. One I can tell you.
Yeah.
One I can tell you. So Ollie got us guest passes, my wife and I, to see. I've got 2 Plant stories actually, to see them in. I think it was like Derby or something. And Ollie is a bit forgetful, right? And I turned up at the show and we'd got passes, which was cool. And there was an after party, like a little after party thing afterwards, which we were at. And Ollie's wife Susie comes out and she's like, "Oh, great to see you again." Yeah, great. And I said, "Where's Ol?" And he's like, "He's in the dressing room." And he came out and he went, "I completely forgot you were coming." That's just classic Ollie, right? Classic Ollie. Thank God their management had sorted out our passes, because otherwise I would have rocked up and it was like that. And Planty's not in there. I've never met Robert Plant at this point, and I am a huge Zeppelin fan. So in my head, I'm like, don't make a fool of yourself. Don't say something obscure. Yeah. Don't talk about a concert he did in 1973. Just be cool, right? And I want Plant to walk away with, he's a good lad, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're standing there, and there's loads of people, right? There's loads of people in this room. And Plant walks in, and immediately I kind of stiffen up and go, "Oh my God, that's Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin." Yeah. Oh my God. And my mind is fine. And my wife says, "Are you all right?" And I was like, yep, I'm fine. And she can see that I'm just getting more excited. I'm going to say something stupid. And I calm myself down. Yeah. And I'm talking to Ollie and Susie. And Ollie's like, "Do you want me to go get Robert?" So it freaks me out that he called him Robert, first of all, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's
first name
Planty.
basis.
Yeah, exactly, right? I was like, no. Before I could get no out, Ollie was shouting, going, "Rob, come over." And I'm like, "You just called him Rob. What are you doing?"
Nickname too? What the hell?
I know, man. And he comes over, and like, I swear to God, he floated over to me. I did. No one was else in that room. And he put his hand out, and he's tall, man. He's tall and got big. And I'm like 6 foot, right? I thought, and he's tall. Mm-hmm. I shook his hand. And the first thing I said to him is, I pointed at Ollie and went, "Why the hell have you got him in your band?" And I have no idea why I said it. I know. And he just looked at me, smiled, and went, "I have no idea." And I was like, I didn't make a complete
fool
of
myself. He went with the bit.
Yeah, exactly. And he would chat for a bit, and we talked about the show, and he was the nicest guy. He spoke about our band, and he talked to me, and it was just, when someone's just got that energy around them, man. And it's like, it happened to Luke, because we went to Ollie and Susie's wedding, and Luke, I'd met Plant by this point, and Luke was like, "Do you reckon Planty's going to be there? Do you reckon Planty's going to be there?" And I'm like, probably, yeah, because they're friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Luke was wearing this beautiful caftan, and we were standing by the door for some reason. I have no idea why. And Luke's just a bit on edge. And I'm like, now I know it. Now I'm thinking Planty and I are best friends, right? I'm like, I'm cool. I'm cool.
He went with my bit. He's cool.
Yeah, exactly. He
knows me.
But Planty walked in, and obviously the golden hair's there and stuff. And I'm looking directly at Luke. And I went, "Luke." And Luke turned, and at that exact time, Planty looked at Luke, winked at Luke, and then kept walking.
Oh.
Luke was just motionless. And I went, "Mate, are you all right?" And he was like, "I am screaming in my head right now." But yeah, it's like, it's incredible to have someone like Ollie in the band who can give us that insight and show us stuff, man, as well. And the same with Nick. Nick just brings so much to the band in so many ways that just helps us keep us centered, and they're both phenomenal drummers. I'm just greedy for drummers, man. That's the point. But yeah. They're my only 2 stories. I have got another one, but I won't tell that one. That'll be for another day. I won't bore you. I've done enough.
Save that for another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was actually going to ask, because you guys have played some pretty big gigs. You guys play some festivals and whatnot like that. It was actually I was going to go into, was there ever, did you ever share the stage with somebody who kind of like was a starstruck moment? It sounds like Robert Plant was probably one of your biggest starstruck moments, but have you shared the stage with anybody that you're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this"?
Yeah, we have, but they've all been so lovely. Right, and that it kind of, they just disarm you, because you kind of have that starstruck stuff. So we've done stuff with Rag and Bone Man, Jessie J,
Oh, yes.
Top Loader, some huge stars who are not really in our genre either, right? And
Yeah.
and they're just lovely, right? They're just lovely people. And you forget because you see them as the artist or see them as the music, and then when they're talking to you, they're just lovely people, man. So and there's loads. So they kind of the tour we're just doing at the moment with Dom Martin. I was petrified, and Dom's an incredible guitarist and big in the blues scene and stuff. He's like the next Rory Gallagher. He'll hate me for saying that, but yeah, I think he's better, to be fair. But I was so in awe of him because of his playing, his songwriting stuff. I was freaking out the first time I met him, and like we're now texting each other book recommendations. I'm like, he's a friend, and I'm like, I've known you 9 days. What's going on? It's like, but when you meet people who are on the same level of you and thinking of you, it's like when you meet someone at a baseball game or a football game, or and you're sitting next to them on the theater, and you just start talking, and you just think, oh, you're cool, man.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just they come with all this stuff around them. But we've been really lucky. We've not met anyone who's been horrible and been up. I'm sure we will, but yeah, we've not met anyone that's been horrible.
Until you've been on this podcast.
Nah, man, you guys are cool. I'm just taking up all your time. I'll happily do this. You need to get Luke on this, man, because he's
that would be awesome.
Level. Yeah, man, we'll get Luke on.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
He's
what
funny
else you got,
as
Christian?
well.
Yeah, so I weirdly have never been to a UK festival, but I love the UK festival scene because for being such like a tiny island, there seems to be a music festival every weekend during the summer. And so what is your which ones have you played at, or like which one's been your favorite to play at?
Oh god.
Like, I know you loosely said Glastonbury.
Yeah, so Luke and I refuse to go to Glastonbury until we play it. So we're waiting for that invitation, Michael Eavis and Emily Eavis. If you just want to get that on, that would be great for next year. But we've played it's really weird, right? Some of the big festivals we've played are great, but they're just massive and you just get a bit scared. Yeah. But some of the best are the ones like, there's a festival called Love Rocks, and it's like 600-700 people. And I swear to God, it's on some ley lines or something, because the vibe and the feeling there is incredible. But it's not like massive like Glastonbury. But the energy that's there and the people is just beautiful. It's an odd one, so I'd say that's one of my favourites. But there's so many, and this is the thing. You're right about the UK, is that if you don't want to go to the big ones like Sonosphere, Reading, Leeds, and stuff like that, you can find festivals anywhere because they kind of put it on. Yeah. So I definitely recommend a trip over here, boys, and come festival season.
Absolutely,
or come to one of it. And if you do come over, I'll put you on guest list because you've paid for your flight. So that's I'll give you the $15 to get in. Right, you have to cover the $800 flight.
Yeah, that's worth it. That is worth it. I did want to ask too, because I'm sure that writing takes up a good chunk of your guys' time. Plus, then you got it. You're playing shows and tours and stuff like that. But what does life look like outside of actually working, right? Like writing, performing. What does it look like outside of that? Do you hang out with the band, or do you all kind of like do your own thing?
It depends when you catch us. Like, so we've just come off a 10-day tour, so we didn't speak to each other for 3 days because we've just been in each other's pockets for 10 days, right? So, but we did that deliberately. We said to each other, right, let's just take 3 days away, get your own headspace and stuff. I think we were messaging after day 2, right? We went around to a barbecue at Nick's because Nick's an incredible chef as well, and he was making these vegan brioche buns. We talk of going to this water park. You're a bit like, do you have Wipeout over there, the program? When it's it might be called something, but it's like that. So you're in a wetsuit and we're going to do that and wear GoPros and stuff. We go to gigs with each other as well and stuff like that. So it's an important part, right? You're a band, right? It's not every single night, but you do need your own space. You do need your own kind of home dwelling as well. We write all the time. right? So
Mm-hmm.
Luke will have a riff and he'll put it in WhatsApp and send it to me, and I'll have a melody, and Nick will have a melody and stuff. We kind of never stop writing. We just, that's the best way to do it, we think, because I always find if you go into a studio and go, right, we're going to write an album this weekend, it's too much pressure. It's red light fever.
Yeah.
You can't do it. So the best songs come along when you don't expect them. So when you're sitting there in front of, Married at First Sight, playing with your guitar and watching rubbish TV, and then something just pops in and you have to run away and put it down and stuff, and then send it to the boys. So there's that, but it's a healthy balance. We don't just obsess over the band and stuff. We work so hard at it, and we put so much effort in, but we don't put pressure on ourselves to write the next Echoes, to do this. If it will come, it will come.
Right.
And I think a lot of artists do put too much pressure on themselves. I don't understand how people don't hang out when they're in a band. I don't see how they can come to rehearsal, go to a gig, and then not talk to each other. I don't get that, because for us, I think it would have a detrimental effect on our stage show and who we are as people, because we need to know each other's lives. We need to know what's happening, what's going on, and live it with each other, So,
and it takes a certain amount of chemistry.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It's like anything, right? You really do get to know people when you're on tour with them, right? Because everyone has their own little foibles and idiosyncrasies and the different things. I watch it on videos back of us when people are doing like filming behind the scenes, and Luke is always moving, always, like during the day. I mean, the guy, he's got a spring in his feet. He's just constantly has to be moving because that's who he is. Before we play, though, he's deadly still. And I'm moving.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then Nick is focusing in like a corner and doing some techniques to get his mind right. And we all go into our separate kind of routines as well. Luke will do like some throat singing, which is incredible to hear, to be fair. And I'll do my warm-ups. And Nick can't sit still before we play, but then when we're side of stage, he's very kind of like zen-like. So you kind of get to know each other in that much detail, like the little maybe ticks or maybe things you get to look at on people that you wouldn't normally see. And, I can look at Luke and he can look at me or Nick as well, and we know if we're happy, sad, or upset instantly.
Yeah.
Just by the look on our faces and stuff like that. Or if we're in a situation we don't want to be in, like if they're talking to someone they don't feel comfortable, and one of us can kind of go in and help, kind of thing. So it's a very beautiful dance that you kind of do with each other. That's why bands fall out, because it is brothers and sisters. It is, man. You just know each other so well, and there's no holds barred. That's how it should be in our eyes. Saying that, we've never had an argument as a band. I'm now thinking we've never had an argument. We've spoken honestly with each other. We've said how each other feels, but we've never, like, no one's ever stormed out. No one's ever thrown the guitar down and go, screw you. And we've never done that. So
yeah. Well, I wonder if that comes along with setting that boundary of honesty from the get-go, too. You said that you guys have had that since you've been a band. I can't imagine there's a lot of hidden resentment if you're constantly just being honest and telling each other how you're feeling. So what really is there to fight? Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
what is there really to fight about? Because you already know.
Yeah. We always say to each other, like, so, and there's been times when Luke's brought it in, and Nick and me or management have sat us down and go, look, we're not doing this right, or this certain element of how we're doing something, we're not doing it right. And what we always say to each other is, we bring it to the group first. If someone's not happy with something, we talk about it, we discuss it. If it needs to be voted on, if it's a rule change or whatever it may be, we vote on it. We, democracy about it, which is, again, not many bands do. But probably the biggest rule we have is, once we've agreed it and discussed it, it is not brought up again. Like, it's not used against the other person again or against them. It is forgotten about. We have all discussed it, and we always make sure everybody has their say, is heard and stuff. And it's what happens is you put the phone down, or you put the Zoom call down and stuff, and everyone goes away and goes, okay, cool, right, onwards. Because it does get stressful, it does get intense, because you're trying to get to certain levels and be a professional musician, and we're getting there and we're doing that, and it's the more eyes are on you, so you've got to be on. I mean, we're at a freaking film premiere that we're in next Friday. right? This is our first day. We're in this documentary, and it's the first one we've ever been in.
Yeah.
We've never been to a film premiere. We've never been on the red carpet.
I'm so happy you brought this up. It was on my list to bring up. I'm happy it came about naturally.
I was like, so we got right, and like, what do we wear? Right? What the hell do we wear? So we're sitting there, and we're like, so we had a meeting. Goes, well, what do we wear? You know, and then we even talked about it. We said, look, no one knew, and there's some big people in this. There's like Black Sabbath, Duran, right? The huge bands, right? No bugger's going to know who we are, right? So we're going to be on the red carpet, and they're going to be taking pictures of Tony Iommi and Bev Bevan and all these cool people. We're going to walk up, and everyone's going to be like, who the hell are these boys? So we've even discussed, exactly. So we've discussed, look, guys, we could get to that moment which we're all building up in our heads, and click, 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 and everyone goes, you know, do one. So we've prepared ourselves for both eventualities, right? Because that's just who we are as people. And we know Echoes is in the documentary, and we played it live, which is amazing. And
can you shout out the name of the documentary?
It's called Birmingham, a city rooted in talent. And it's going to be a series, 1 hour series. They're just kind of sorting out if it's going on what platform that is. And again, it's just one of those things that we have no idea what we're doing, right? We don't know how we're going to handle ourselves. We're going to walk into that premiere, right? And then all these famous brummies are going to watch us sing a song, and then we're going to walk out and be in the bar with them, and they're going to be like, oh, you're those boys. So that's going to be weird, right? That's going to be weird as hell. So we're navigating this like everybody else, and everyone's like, oh, it's going so well for you and stuff. I said, we don't have a clue what we're doing. So I was like, don't think we do. It was like we're just trying to make the best of it we can.
That's kind of the secret, though.
Yeah,
all of us don't really know what we're doing, and the ones who pretend they are, everyone's just kind of pretending, right? A little bit.
God,
it's about showing up. It's not about knowing.
Yeah,
it's about showing up.
We've even spoke about what we're going to wear, right? And we're like, okay, well, I can't wear green if you're wearing this. And Luke's like, I'm going to wear an Afghan coat. And I'm like, oh my God, man, we're going to stick out. Because we're Paisley mad. We love the 70s and stuff like that. We'll be in flares and stuff. And we'll think we look cool. But, then Tony Iommi will probably show up just looking ridiculously cool because it's Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
But I think that we were all talking about it, and the boys were just like, we just need to be us. Let's just go in and be us. And then if people
just meet in the middle and wear costumes.
Yeah. No, we will though. That's
just wear costumes.
Yeah. No, but we're mad. We're mad about it because it's like every time we think we've got to a certain point, something else will happen, right? And we were at sound check once, and the sound guy over the mic while we're sound checking, about halfway through, he goes, I can see why the Specials really like you. Now, the Specials are a huge band over here, right? From like Coventry, Birmingham, Ghost Town and stuff like that. And you're like, whoa, what? What did you just say? He goes, oh, yeah. the bass player from the Specials was talking to me about you last night. I told him you were playing here. And we're like, what? So you forget that, because you put this music out and you do your thing on social media, and you forget that people see it. Right, you forget that happens, and then you boys messaging going, "Can you come on our podcast?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I can." How the hell did you find us? I was like, and then obviously I looked into what you guys were doing. Like, my God, they're in America. What the hell's going on here? It's like, but it's beautiful, man. It's so beautiful.
We feel the exact same way.
Yep, we feel the same way. It was,
but
I don't know what's happening.
I love it. I love it, boys. And I watched some of the ones you did previously and how you're talking to people. I'm just like, yeah, man, these people get it. They're doing it, right? And I just, all credit to you, man, because I couldn't do a podcast. I probably could.
You're doing
talk.
one right now.
Well, no, as in create one and stuff like that. But
me and Damien always joke we're not talented. Like, we would love to do music, but we're both not talented enough musicians to do music. So this is our fallback.
No, it's cool,
we
man.
Somehow do.
It's cool. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. And the vibe and the energy you boys give off and stuff, even from your emails, right, and your messages and stuff like that, I was like, I'm going to have a whale of a time with these boys because they get it.
Yeah.
And it's just, and that's, don't underestimate that, lads, because we get, I got a request the other day. Someone said, come on our podcast and we'll pay you $3,000. It was a scam, right?
Whoa.
No one's going to pay.
go.
No one's going to pay me $3,000, right, to go on a podcast. And it was like they'd copied this stuff, but I'm like, we get approached a hell of a lot by people to do stuff. And
Christian, get rid of the email where he was going to pay us $3,000. Don't.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I'll send that payment. Don't you worry.
Take it back.
Take it back. Yeah. Unsend.
It's mad. It's mad. It's like, and you do go off vibe, and you boys are doing it right. So just keep doing it, and just be unapologetic. You are. Just keep being unapologetic about who you are, because it's great, man. It's great to feel and see. It really is.
Thanks so much, man. And same to you guys. That's very meaningful to hear. Sorry, Christian, go for it. I'm just nerding out.
I was about to say, it sounds, our philosophy towards this is we're doing this because me and Damien just love hanging out and talking to each other. And like, I know it's the most cliche thing. Like, the only thing that we're ever going to stop is when it quits being fun.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like how Blue Nation kind of is. Like, if it stops being fun, why are we doing it?
Yeah. This isn't for anybody. This isn't for anyone else. This is for us. So we've had people, that we've had on as guests afterwards talk to us for like an hour about like, you need to reach out to these people for sponsorship. Here's how you monetize. I'm like, look, I mean, that's cool. I'm thankful for the info, but that sounds like a lot of work. I just want to talk to people, and if something happens, but we're not doing this. We both have full-time jobs and families and stuff. We're not looking to, go on tour with this or anything. I mean, if it happens, it happens, but we're not looking for that.
Put it out, put it out to the universe. Your audience will find you. They are finding you already and stuff like that, man. And it's cool. It's what it should be. It's organic. It's what you want to be. It's for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think we get, and bands as well, we get so held up in that we need to be the biggest thing since sliced bread. We need to be doing what Coldplay's doing. Nah, man. If your job is to play in front of 100 people across the whole of Europe and America, that is a hell of a career, right?
It's pretty cool.
But just enjoy the journey. Everyone misses the journey because we're all looking at the finish line, man. Look, enjoy the journey. Enjoy the moments that... I've just literally stopped reading Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not the biggest McConaughey fan, right? I'm seeing that boy in a new light because the way he explains stuff, I'm just like, wow. I had no idea he was that deep, that kind of thoughtful. Yeah. And I didn't agree with everything he said, but he was talking about the green lights or the shimmers and stuff like that. And you do miss them. Yeah. Because we're so busy and wrapped up with, we've got to hit this number, we've got to do this. And I'm just like, just leave it. Your audience will find you and they'll take you through. It's the biggest thing we've found.
Yeah.
Forget about streaming
and just numbers. Be... Yeah, exactly. And just be unapologetically yourself and just be undeniable in yourself and what you do. I think that's all it is,
Yeah.
I think that, well, Christian, do you have anything? We're getting to that time. Do you have any last?
I think we're probably a good spot.
I've talked you to death, and now you have an editing nightmare to cut me down.
Not even close. We don't edit. We don't edit. We don't edit. Don't have the time for that.
About at the beginning, no.
Yeah, we don't edit unless we have to. So if you're good, we're good. But I do want to. I have two last questions for you.
Okay, mate.
The first one is, if you're able to say anything, please do. If not, don't. Are you planning any sort of U.S. tours? Because I'm telling you right now, I'm already tempted to fly to Europe or UK to come and see you guys, but is there anything in the future possibly that you're coming here?
I'll tell you exactly. I would love to. The cost is astronomical. And it's our fault, right? It's our fault with ruddy Brexit and the stupid laws we've put in place and stuff like that, and the visas and stuff like that. And it's a problem for most bands and most British bands as well. I mean, we'd be there in a heartbeat. 10 years ago, to get a visa to play like South by Southwest was $3,000 per band member and per person coming.
Ooh, that's
10 years ago, right? And what's really weird is American bands, we don't charge them coming over to us, right? Which is the right way to do it, And I'm not saying I'm not having a go at America in the slightest. This rule's been in place for donkeys, so we'd love to. There'd have to be a hell of a shift in our financial earnings to do it. I think we'd go down well in America, musically and who we are. So it's definitely there.
Yes.
I think probably Europe is going to be closer first of all.
Okay.
But if you do come over to the UK, I will absolutely sort you out guest list, because if you make that trip, I'll 100% sort out guest list. We are going to be touring next year as well. It's probably going to be, we've got a lot, I can't tell you the plans we've got, but we are going to be touring. It's going to be our own headline tour, and there will be kind of back-to-back dates, so you'll be able to catch a couple, and it will probably be back end of next year. But there's so many plans and so many stuff people are talking to us about. I mean, even 2026, and it's just
wow. Okay,
it's just wild, man. It's just wild. But look, never say never. If it turns around in a heartbeat. I know we got really close to one of our songs becoming a theme song on a Mexican TV show. We came second.
Cool.
So if that had come in, then we would have done it. I had no idea how it would have worked. It was Come Back Home. They wanted Come Back Home.
Okay.
And it was I was like, I can't even imagine that as like a Friends theme tune or something, but I'd take it.
Hey, whatever people want,
Hey, yeah, man, I'd take it. Well, so if something like that comes in, then we'd do it in a heartbeat, because I think America would get us and what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
I can speak for the majority of them. Yes. You play very well over here.
United States
I will speak
America.
for everyone right now. Anybody who's into any kind of blues rock, or for our U.S. listeners, any dirty rock. If you like dirty rock, that's what we call it
dirty
here.
Rock. Okay, cool. I like that.
Yeah, dirty rock. If you like that shit, I mean, this is the band to watch. So go over, check them out. If you're in the UK or Europe at the time of their tour, you have to buy a fucking ticket. Absolutely have to, and I'll be jealous the whole time.
Luke explained this quite well. Luke explains this quite well. This is totally stolen from Luke. Imagine if the Beatles and Led Zeppelin had a baby. That's us.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool, right? That's pretty on point. So there you go.
That's very accurate. So yes, that is perfect. Check them out on social media. We'll put all the links in the bio.
Thank you.
And then the last question that I wanted to ask, which I ask any band that we have on, and yes or no is fine. Either one is fine. But do you have one song that if nobody's ever heard you before, you would want them to hear? And if so, are you willing to send it to us so we can put it in this episode for people to check out?
Yeah, of course I'll send it to you. No, that's not a problem at all. Oh my God. See now, right, so this is the dilemma I'm going through. Do I say Echoes, because that will stir emotions in people? Do I say my favourite song, which is very selfish? Do I say a riff-based song and go, well, do I give them that because that's going to appeal to them more? So I don't really know. So what I'm going to do is cheat. Okay. I'm going to send you 3 songs and you can either play all 3, or you can play one of them, and you can pick it, mate. Therefore, if it falls on its ass, it ain't my fault, right? And that's
it's my fault.
That's your fault, and that is me dodging the bullet and staying firmly on the fence, right? I don't know. In my head,
that is twisty. I like that.
I would. Yeah, I was thinking Hand Me Down. I was thinking Echoes. I was thinking Run Straight Ahead. But I'll send you all 3, man, and you can have them.
That's amazing. Well, tune in. Right after this to hear whatever song it is that I so choose. Thank you for giving me the power.
Don't mess it up,
Neil. Yeah, I know, pressure, dude. I was nervous beforehand. Now I'm even more. I'm like, oh my God, I can't handle this. All right, Neil. Well, it has been an honor, a pleasure, and thank you so much for coming on and just being yourself and shouting out mental health and making kick-ass music.
Oh no! Thank you. Don Martin says this on stage about the audience, and he's so true. We kind of all masquerade as rock stars and artists and stuff. The true people that make this worth happening is you guys, because you're pushing us out there. You invited me on here and stuff like that, and you'll do this with many other bands and many other people. So to be honest, it's me that's thanking you, because without people like you, without reviewers, photographers, all that kind of stuff, it's nothing, right? We're just 3 lads playing to nobody in a room, right? So thank you for helping us get the word out. We do really appreciate it. And a lot of people say to us, They go, "Oh, you'll forget about us when you're rich and famous." And where I said, "Rubbish." I tell you now, if you want to interview any of us at any stage of our career, we will be there. We will be on the podcast. We will come talk to you because you're here now helping us, right? So don't ever feel that you can't reach out to us and say, "Hey, boys, do you want to jump on?" We always will. Always.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, man.
That's amazing.
That's a verbal incredible. Contract now, so you can hold me to it.
That is. I was just going to say.
Recorded, so luckily you said this while we're still recording.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
All right. Well, thank you again, Neil. And bye.
Bye.
Please don't try to calm my mind. It's almost over. I can't sense the fear inside as I grow older.